Good evening, everyone. Welcome to The Purple Mic. I'm your host, Erica, and I'm joined tonight by my beautiful friends, Ben, Jolon, and we have a new panelist, a beautiful face on the panel. We welcome Jessica. How are you tonight?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We look forward to making amazing memories with you. The episodes to come. We're so happy to have you. So welcome to the Purple Mic family. If you guys have not already, please join us on YouTube. We ask that you please subscribe. Click the notification bell so you are informed of all of our new episodes and past episodes. Of course, season 1 is up for reviewing. All of our handles for our social media are down below. And we do have a fall cash giveaway right now that actually ends next week for our 20th episode. So the winner will be announced. Tonight, we have a 3-part series, Sexology and Libido 101. Sexology. Drink it, Ben.
Gonna get prepped for this thing here, boy.
So sexology. Sexology is a multi-discipline study of human sexuality. And studies of sexology typically cover topics such as sexual development, like puberty, sexual orientation, sexual activity and relationships from medical, psychological, and social perspectives. Discussion and study of human sexuality have always existed, and from the Roman poetic series, The Art of Love 1 and Kama Sutra. We've talked about Kama Sutra many a times on previous and past episodes. So what is libido? The psychological aspect of sexual desire. Is it the same as arousal? No, not really, but they can be related. So libido is what's going on in your mind, like when you're having a hot fantasy. And sexual arousal is more about what's happening in your body, like when you're getting wet, if you have a vagina, or getting an erection if you have a penis.
All right now.
So the confusion comes in because libido and sexual arousal often rise and dip together. So tonight's answers by the Purple Mic will be answered personally or based on data and statistics, depending on the comfort level of each panelist. We'll go ahead and open the discussion up. I'm excited.
Me too.
Pertaining to our memories of having an introduction and talking about sex, becoming a man, becoming a woman, discussions with our mothers and fathers, conflicting advice, materials, articles about sexuality and early formations and concepts of the body. Let's open a discussion. Jessica, I'll begin with you. Very first time you ever heard or talked about sex?
Probably high school, to be honest. I went to a boarding school, so there were girls and boys. And just having conversations with your friends, you just kind of hear it. Living in a dormitory full of girls, we actually talked about it, I wouldn't say a lot, but enough for us to feel comfortable talking about it. And it wasn't a thing that at least for me and my friends, that we ever shied away from. We knew it was happening. We knew it was there. We felt very comfortable with each other talking about it. But it really wasn't until college that you started experiencing those things. At least I did. So yeah, it was, yeah.
So I have not really been able to say the word sex until I actually got into college, because I was always taught that it was something bad, that's something that you shouldn't do until you're married. I always felt ashamed talking about it because it was just a taboo thing in my home. Growing up in the church, it's like, no, that's a discussion for married people. Young people shouldn't be thinking about that. So I really didn't have a clear, concise discussion on what it was supposed to be. I just knew that you weren't supposed to do it until you were married. That was the only thing that I got. So I never knew all of the feelings, all of the psychological, all of the physical aspects that go into actually being sexual. So I kind of read some books, talked to a couple people, just overheard conversations, them giving their personal ideas of what they think sex was. So I kind of learned along the way.
Uh, my first experiences with sex was like really young. I remember this was back in the day. I'm finna date myself here, but I remember back in the day when channel 98 and 99 were like the sex channels. You know what I'm saying? And like there'd be the wavy lines. You could hear it, but it'd be the wavy lines. You know what I'm saying? And so I found out a way, like me, I found out a way to like I would change the contrast and all these different things and the settings on the thing to where it'll stabilize the image, but it's still the colors still be off. So yeah, so I was I very early was watching that, and I just remember listening to it a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I remember very early wanting to be a great lover. I loved the sound of a woman. You know what I'm saying? And so and those pleasurable moments. So I remember very young wanting to be a good lover in that respect. So yeah, so that was my introduction, like very early into it. My first sexual experience is pretty early as well. And then, after a while I eventually, as I got a little older, um, high school sweetheart, college sweetheart, and start to kind of know more about what I'm doing and not just be, I guess going off of instinct. And so yeah, so pretty early on it was a lot about, the female form and like I said, just wanting to be a pleaser of women.
Nice. Just scraggly lines.
All right, whatever. Exactly.
I was the same because I mean I was the only child, and you're clicking through your remote and your TV, and I'm seeing this same way you described it, but my head was like upside down. I'm like, okay. So I think another encounter was like the late at night BET
Uncut.
videos where they were just kind of, you saw everything.
Tip drill. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. And then I remember an Adam and Eve catalog came to our house one time in the mailbox. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
it was inside of an envelope. And why I opened that envelope, I don't know. I just,
You knew why.
I'm like, I'm hiding this thing.
You thought it was a Bible story.
Mm.
And every time my mom was gone, I'd just be like flipping through that little Adam and Eve catalog, but never really knew what anything meant. So, yeah, the experience actually happened at 14 years old. I was scared. I was so scared. Like, is this going to hurt? Like, what are we doing? Like, don't touch me. And then, you just have the experience. And then after that, it's just like, all right. Okay.
Ball
So
game.
I never really had a conversation with my parents, or any aunts, uncles. Never really. I think in our community, I don't even think that's embraced to like really sit down and have that first talk. So moving forward with body types, we have negative image and body dysmorphia, whether it be collagen, elastin, height, weight, stretch marks. Which body parts we have come to appreciate as well. I know sometimes, we get a little older and we start to embrace our bodies. The fraught territory of objectification and sexualization will be debated in our conversation tonight on how confidence and body loathing are inculcated. So in this moment, the Purple Mic will discuss negative aspects and fears many have based on web revolution, gender, sex, and power. So Jolon, I'll begin with you on this topic.
Well, so I did not know what to expect when it came to loving your body, knowing who you are, just being comfortable in your own skin. I think a lot of times we compare. I think at a very young age, let me go back. At a very young age, I never really put a lot of emphasis on how I looked. I just made sure that I was active as a child. I was always riding my bike. I was always outside. So naturally, you just have that shape that you have just by being active.
Right.
But I never really got into wanting to have this certain type of physique until I was like in high school with my sisters, and Jessica can attest to this. Like, we used to do crunches every night, like 1,500 crunches every night, because we were like, we are not going to have a belly. We are not going to have a belly. We're going to have abs. So I took that with me into college. I took all these classes, but I also worked out on the side, just to keep my physique up. And I started like learning how to appreciate my curves and, wanting to look a certain way. So I put a little more emphasis when I got to college. And then when I had my son, I ate the healthiest that I ever did in my entire life, just because I was carrying life. And I also wanted to have that bounce back after I delivered him. So I put a little more emphasis too on trying to get my body back, working out, just maintaining my physique. And then I just continue to develop in that way. So when it comes to the opposite sex, I wanted somebody who was kind of on that path as well. Someone who cared about how they looked, took care of themselves, ate pretty healthy. You could eat junk food a little bit, but, just cared about their overall health. So I kind of knew I was wanting to go in that direction with somebody. And so I'm 5'8.5", 5'9", some people want to say. So I already knew that I had to have a tall man now. I was like, this brother better be looking down at me, and I better be looking at him, because there's just some safety in just having someone who just can embrace you and just take you in and is bigger than you for some reason, as far as me being a woman. So that's always been something that's been on my list. But having like strong arms to pick me up and just put me on his back or carry me if we're horsing around or whatever. I just appreciate that stuff, because that kind of stuff then turns into other things. You know what I'm saying? We horsing around and it's touchy feely, then we on the bed, then we on the floor. So
Then the chandelier.
Chandeliers involved. You could be going from one place to the next. Phase 1, phase 2.
I see you now.
You know what I'm saying?
Blueprint, the plan, got a whole plan. I see you.
The setup, you know what I mean? So, but on that positive side, there also is the negative, where we put too much emphasis on how we look, as far as breaking ourselves down. And if we don't look a certain way, then we feel like we have to go get surgery. We feel like we have to exercise excessively, and get enhancements to look a certain way and then feel better about ourselves. So I feel like there's the positive way, and then there's the negativity, where we see people just mutilating their bodies. And I'm all for surgery if you're trying to just do little things, but when you're just trying to totally transform yourself without taking the healthier route, then I just feel like you're just doing the cop out way. You're just trying to get straight to the point. So yeah, I feel like I need a strong man with muscles.
I love it. Then I'll move over to you.
I grew up around a lot of women. Primarily, my mother, she was married a couple of times, but I grew up around my mother, aunts, a lot of women, a lot of strong women. And very early on, I was very much aware of the female gaze. You know what I'm saying? Like, just how women look at men. And I was very much aware that when I was younger, like I was always like the rank of like all my groups, all my social groups. I was usually the shortest, smallest dude, you know what I'm saying? Very, intelligent, but that was just what it was. And so I used to get picked on a little bit, you know what I'm saying, until I got these hands right, and then once these hands got right, then that changed, you know what I mean? And so I started to realize how much strength is equated to masculinity, how much size is equated to masculinity, all these things like that. Just like Jolon just said, like, I mean, I'm an average height dude. I'm, 5'8", 5'9" somewhere around there, like Jolon said. And it's like, when, I'm around certain women, like y'all some, I think Jessica's the only one that's shorter than me, but, I'm looking at, Jolon and Erica right in the eyes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I was very much aware. I'm very much aware that women equate that protection and safety to, to masculinity and strength and things of that nature. And so I've always been very much aware of that. Which is why I put so much dedication into my body. You know what I'm saying? I work out, eat pretty healthy, try to work out a lot, as much as I can. I've been in martial arts, band, gymnastics, stuff like that. So I'm, played all the sports and everything. So I've tried to like to Jelon's point, like try to be active and stuff like that. Cause I know how much, even women when y'all, watching sports and stuff like that, y'all looking at sports, but y'all looking at, I didn't hear all the time, like, ooh, look at them tight pants and all, just looking at man's bodies and what I'm saying, it's a little bit of objectivity there, you know what I'm saying? Objectification there, you know what I mean, from women, because y'all are visual. Maybe it's not as much as us, but y'all are visual as well. And so, yeah, I've definitely, what I'm saying, even when watching, like I said, I've watching porn since I was pretty young, so been watching myself, develop and everything like that. And I used to be kind of like, what's going on? And I was like, all right, I'm older now. Like, okay, yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just like when we have just as many body issues as you all have, you know what I'm saying? Especially in today's climate where, it's all about what, the eggplant emojis and everything, you know what I'm saying? So we out here like, okay, we gotta make sure we straight too, you know what I mean? And um, even like to the on the other side, like when I look at a woman, like we talking about stretch marks, like it's certain aspects of the female anatomy that or the female experience in terms of the physical part that I'm totally cool with. And I actually when I see stretch marks, I'm like, okay, that just means that you thick now. You used to be thin and now you're thick in one area. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a marker for me of that you thick. So maybe I think most men, especially nowadays, are like that, where we're more okay with natural bodies and stuff like that, like how Coco was saying, like the whole BBLs and all the stuff women are getting these days, like everybody kind of looking the same, you know what I mean? And it's okay to have variety. You know what I'm saying? I have my certain physical characteristics that I really love in a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been a butt man. Like I don't know if that's just a black culture thing or what, but I've always loved that part. I think Sir Mix-a-Lot probably had a lot to do with it. So yeah, I think, and as a matter of fact, it's interesting because, and I was just thinking about this the other day, as a matter of fact, that the kind of the European standards of beauty or Western standards of beauty are kind of shifting a lot. Like the standard of beauty now is more like the black woman, like everybody want butts now, right? You know what I'm saying? Like used to be breasts, now it's butts. You know what I'm saying? That's a black woman thing. Y'all coined that. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I think a lot of these things are shifting. And for me personally, like I said, I really I'm definitely very much aware of the female gaze and how y'all y'all's vision of how men are, and I try my best to be the best that I can because of that. Because if it wasn't for y'all, man, I wouldn't. I'd be big and sloppy probably. You know what I'm saying? I probably wouldn't care. But
I can't with you. I think when I was younger, I didn't even think about it. I was, like Jolon said, we were always outside. We're always very athletic. I played soccer when I was younger. We did double dutch. We were very, very active. So I never really thought about my body when I was younger. I think that the first time I started thinking about my body was in middle school when I realized I was bigger than my friends were. They were A cups, B cups, and I think I went straight past the C, almost to a D. I think that was the first time I realized, like, this is something, like, and it wasn't necessarily a good thing. I remember feeling very subconscious about it, and because people used to stare. I'm, 12 years old with almost D cups, and people used to stare, and I used to feel so subconscious. I actually developed like this hump because I was always trying to not make them out in the forefront of me. I didn't get over that until probably college, when it was more of, I don't want to say praised, but it was more accepted, like, girl, you got some. And it made me feel better about myself and saying, like, this is not a negative thing. This part of me makes me a woman, and I feel better about that. And so I think that people don't understand that when you're younger and you have body, and I hope you guys know what that means. When you have body, you have shape, you have different things that carries out into your adulthood. How you are treated with that is carried out into your adulthood, and it will affect how you feel about yourself. And lucky for me, I had really good friends. I have great family, and I kind of got over that. But the other part about it was I also got big. I got bigger. Um, I gained a lot of weight and I had no idea why. And turns out I have a disease of causing it. And, I'm on the track to getting back. But that happened as well. And that really made me feel worse because I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't changing anything about myself. I was still very active. I was actually playing volleyball and soccer at the time, very active. And then you just gain all this weight. And then you're like, what's happening? And you kind of feel like you're not yourself. You're looking at somebody else because in your mind you feel one way, but on the outside you look a certain way.
Right.
And it was harmful for myself. No one made me necessarily feel bad about myself, but it was just like I feel like people look at people who are bigger in a different way.
Right.
It's always a negative way. It's you're not healthy, you must be eating so much, and you must be overeating, and you must not be exercising. And my sister can attest to you, I didn't do any of those things. I don't overeat. I try to be as active as possible and eat as best as I can. I like my cookies and cakes sometimes, but no more than anyone else, I would think.
Right.
And so growing up, you can have a negative experience, but I think the older that you get, the more you come into yourself, the more you find yourself as a woman or a man, and you start to realize that some of the things that you thought were negative about yourself are actually the things that make you you and are attractive to other people. And so you just have to figure out what those things are, feel good about yourself, and go forth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like yourself, I think for me it was my thighs. I am so annoyed to this day. My weight always going to my lower half. And it's like, one of those things I've always tried to shy away from. I would wear pants. All the girls had skirts on, shorts on. And even to this day, when I'm on Instagram, they look like they just walked straight out of junior high. They are still petite. I was the tallest girl in school always. Played center basketball and was the only one in running jogger pants on the basketball court. Everyone had shorts on. But I think for me, it was just always like, the struggle with why are my legs jiggly? Why are they curvy? Why are they like this? And everyone else has slender legs. The other thing was I have eczema. So it wasn't just a weight factor. It was, little patches. And even today, like I struggle with that. So like you said, as you get older, you really get to a phase where it's like, forget about it. You start learning self-love. The people who love you the most are the people who will stay. Today, I think I'm the most comfortable in my body. I love fitness. I'm obsessed with nutrition. But aside from that, I think, in my partnerships with others, like I just, I want to feel embraced. And going back to Ben's point about height, that was, sometimes an issue. Because, you like a boy and you're up here and he's down here. And it's just kind of like, well, that ain't going to work. So
that's because they didn't catch up yet. They hadn't hit puberty. So we didn't know that. We just like, why are the boys so short? And we're towering over them.
Exactly. We're going to tackle the subject of hair. We're going to discuss how hair impacts the view of our bodies, self-groom, and our intimate areas. Preferences. Does it bother one if their partner prefers hair or no hair? So hair is seen as being something that is gendered and a factor in men and women's thoughts about sex, sexuality in a way that have been judged. Jolon.
I've heard many different things. I've heard some men want women to be natural because they don't want to feel like they're with a girl. Uh, I've heard that before because having hair makes you womanly,
Mhm.
So some people prefer no hair because they feel like it's just easier to get where they need to go. I mean, I've heard it all. I'm just like, really? And you're kind of in your mind like, people really think about those things. I mean, I feel like you have hair on your body. I'm like science based too, but you have hair on your body for a reason. It's supposed to, block out some viruses, bacteria from getting into certain places. But aesthetically, hair just doesn't look good in certain places. So when you're trying to wear a top and you're always raising your arms, or it doesn't look good to have like a big old bush underneath your arm and things like that. So a lot of women shave their armpits.
Like you got buckwheat in the headlock. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then, in your intimate parts, your lady parts or whatever, even men do manscaping too. It's just, I don't know. People say it just feels better to just have no hair. But, I say keep it low, shaven and shorn. But,
What'd you say?
shaven and shorn, but keep it low, I don't know. I've never had a wax before. I've never had a Brazilian wax. I haven't
No,
gotten
that's
to
too
that
far.
point yet.
That's too far.
I mean, that's just way too far for me. Like somebody all up in me, like, no, I don't know if I can handle that just yet. I mean, I'm trying to get there, but I just keep it low.
That's too far.
Right. But you stay fresh
There was a
and clean. You groom yourself. I mean, there's all kinds of gadgets you can use. There's things women can, the bikini shavers and things like. There's no excuse, even a regular shaver. But I mean, if Brazilian is your way, go ahead. But I ain't got there yet. Nope. Not me.
There was a whole thread about like women getting Brazilians and like their body's reaction to it, like in a kind of an erotic sense, and like how they were embarrassed about that. So it was a whole. I read like a long thread about it. It was hilarious, man. So that's supposedly a very interesting experience for some. So
Yeah.
I mean, some people like pain.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Pain is a sexual thing for many people, and so I can see how that could happen. But it's not even the act of the Brazilian wax. To me, it's the upkeep. I gotta keep going back because you have to wait for it to come back, and then you go. I'm like, listen, bro, I got the time. I will take care of it myself when I'm ready and do what I need to do. But yeah.
And so, Ben, as a guy, what is your take on that?
The people want to hear from Erica. Actually, Ben, hold on. We want to hear from Erica.
Hey.
All the ladies got to talk. Now, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, so I mean, personally, I'm a licensed esthetician. So, I know a lot about this field, and lasering does not work for African American hair. It just does not. Anyone that will argue and say it does, kudos to you. For the majority, it does not work.
Right.
So, I went to electrolysis and literally said, zap it away. Because, I feel like, in my personal opinion, hair leaves odor. It's odorous. I started to feel like, when that time of the month comes, I don't want all that there. It's just kind of like, let's keep it clean. So, even when I am intimate, I don't feel like I want that in the way. Like, it's like, I just kind of feel like it should just be clean, like slither, slick.
Hey,
slippery. That's just my opinion.
Slippery.
So you like pain. Okay.
I like to feel clean. And I'm not saying it's not clean to have hair, but for me personally, it feels very clean when it's just bare.
I agree with you, Erica. I'm with you. I'm not going to get it waxed, but we're going to clean it up.
Yeah. And I'm talking about all the way through the back. Just
from the rooter to the tutor, boy. Okay.
Yeah. So that's just
if you're going to clean the front, you might as well clean the
all of
trunk
it
too.
and it hurts. that, I mean, it does hurt, but it's worth it. I mean, it's an investment on, and you never have to think about razors or the investment of going back spending $40, $50 to get wax and then dealing with stubble and all that type of
So
stuff.
is electrolysis different than lasering?
It is.
Okay.
So it goes deeper under the 5 layers of the skin to actually get that care out of that follicle, basically.
Okay.
That in which people would understand it. That's like the best way to describe it. Whereas lasering, you're going back for several sessions and it's not guaranteed. So you're just kind of, waiting to see if it's going to, extract. So yeah, that's been my investment and I like it. Ben?
Well, now. It's a hard act to follow there. So yeah, I agree. So I definitely don't like the 60s and 70s porn star look. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely not the move. You know what I mean? But I'm cool with, my preference is, like you said, like the slippery slick. You know what I mean? Because it just makes, especially like there's certain sexual acts that I enjoy, and it makes it much more enjoyable. When I'm having a conversation directly with the yoni. And so
We are back to yoni.
Conversation. Okay. I'm at conversation.
Yeah. We're conversing. When I'm conversing directly to her, we're a direct conversation. We're so that that so that makes it much easier. Although I can also understand like what brothers have said, because depending on the woman, like if a woman is like fully developed, she's like thick and everything, like it doesn't, bother you or anything like that if it's like that. But if, some women are maybe a little thinner and stuff like that, and, it like image wise, it may play with you a little bit if she's slicked down and everything like that. So, a low cut, what I'm saying, had a fade, what I'm saying, had a fade down there. That's cool too. You know what I mean? Like, I think either way, as long as it's clean, I think that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Like, if it's trimmed up. Because I mean, to Jolon's point, I manscape. You know what I mean? I've and to Erica's point, what I'm saying, like I said, hair has odor, and men were just naturally more musky. You know what I mean? And I could be, just a regular day, and then you have hair down there, and it's just like you only have to be outside really doing a whole lot of work, let alone out there, actually doing some work and working out or something like that. So you want to make sure you clean. So I make sure I manscape, like you said, from the rooter to the toot. I literally got the manscape, the little mower 2.0. You know what I mean? I got the whole little kit. Yeah, that's what it's called.
And he got a second edition.
Yeah, I got the 2.0. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I make sure I tighten up, make sure I'm tight. You know what I mean? Because same thing. It's certain parts of my.
Why don't you go get waxed?
Oh, I'm good on that. Just only because, like, only because it's like I feel like I want to still have a little bit of, because I I actually remember back in high school, this girl she said how she liked the crack in the hair crack at a man's behind. Like, she's like, that's so manly to her. And I was like, you actually like the hair in a man's butt? She's like, yeah, that's really manly. You know what I'm saying? And so women like a little bit of hair. You know what I mean? And that's always kind of stuck with me. Like, women like a little bit of hair, kind of the same reason like you're talking about. It's a little more masculine, stuff like that. So
it is definitely more masculine for a guy. I don't know how it would feel if a guy were just naked down there. I've never had that experience. That would probably be weird to me.
What was it? What did you say?
I think I would be weirded out if a guy were just bald down there.
Oh yeah, that's just not
like. I know I don't like the chest hair, that taco meat up here. That is nasty. I can't do that. And then you just go lay there, and it's like, ow, nah, no. I don't like.
If I have to do hair removal, you have to do hair removal. That's,
okay. No. But down there, I like the little. So where the V is, where the short.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You gotta. Trim it up. You know what I'm saying? Just trim it up. Make sure it's got to have that fade. You know what I'm saying?
The hedges. Get the hedges.
Yeah. Trim the thing up.
In our next fascinating subject of our episode 1, part 3 series, we get to grips with the patriarchal media fragmentation of the body and some of the consequences of adopting the props of sexuality. whether stockings, fishnets, lingerie for the female, and why most women tend to prefer all things big when it comes to muscles, height, and size of a man. Ineffable question of what women want, what men want from sex. So, Jessica, I'm going to start with you on this one. What are your thoughts?
That's a hard one because I feel
Pun
like for
intended?
me,
Oh, baby on a roll tonight.
I mean, no, just saying. Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
I mean, I do prefer it that way. So,
Got you.
Right?
Got you.
Hello.
you know, yeah, those things matter for sure. But I think to me, it's not necessarily always about the physical. It is sometimes about, the little things and that can really take off on that. But yeah, having a man who looks nice on the outside and keeps up with himself and also knows how to treat me well, those things kind of go hand in hand to me. I can't just there could be a fine guy and I could not be sexually attracted to him because he's not kind or he's not thoughtful or he's not any of those other things. They have to go hand in hand. I can't have one over the other. I have to have both of them in order for me to feel sexually attracted to you.
So I think the term is demisexual. I believe it's like you can't be sexually attracted to somebody unless there's an emotional attachment. I believe that's the term. Right?
I have looked into that, into the asexual family, and that kind of seems like I would be more towards that. I haven't 100% confirmed, but it definitely seems like, just have to have a strong connection with that person. Because to me, sex is more than just something physical. Yeah, you can just lay there and have sex.
Yeah.
Will I enjoy it? No.
Yeah.
So it has to be more than just the act. Exactly. It has to just be more than the act of having sex. It's something else that gets in there that makes it the thing I want to do again and again and again and again and again with that person.
So it's more like it's mental and there's that connection and you feel embraced and you feel safe.
Trust.
Yeah.
Compassion, joy, all of those things have to be wrapped up in this package that's coming.
And I think, it's interesting you said that because so many times, we've had this conversation and I couldn't exactly pinpoint why I felt the way I felt on many subjects, but that is exactly it and why I can't engage in casual sex. I mean, just willingly, like it's just not interesting at all. Like, there's nothing, no fire, the pilot's not lit, nothing's hot. No.
And you're sitting there wondering why.
Right.
Why can I do this? Why can't it be just, something fun to do on the weekends, just like you're doing anything else? Why can't I just, because everyone else is doing it. I see that all my friends, they're just having casual sex and that's fine. I don't, it's no judgment or anything like that. But I'm like, well, why can't I do that? And I realized that I need more than just the physical. See, I mean, like I said, I could have sex with you. It could be, but I won't enjoy it. It wouldn't be something I'd be like craving or need or anything. It'd just be like,
or you'll just be in that moment, like, so tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I gotta get my.
Yeah, it's like I forgot to get eggs. I gotta go to the grocery store.
Like, is it over yet? Okay, you got 5 seconds. Okay.
Why would I want to waste time on that if I'm not gonna enjoy it? I'm not gonna shave and clean up and do all of this to do.
Electrolysis and wax and all that.
Exactly, wax.
All of those steps just to be like, okay,
all of that for
go.
That
is funny.
Yeah. But to your point, Erica, about the lingerie and stuff. I mean, listen, I have stuff in my closet that I don't wear because I don't got a man. Anyway, but it's just for safekeeping. For when the event comes, I won't have to go rush out to go get something or whatever. But at the same time, it depends on the person. I feel like sometimes men are like, oh, I don't need all that stuff. Like Jessica said, the connection is there. So all that stuff is out the window. I'm with you. You're the person that I want to be with. So yeah, visuals are nice, but I feel like it shouldn't be a requirement. But again, if you're trying to aim to please your partner, then I feel like you should be open to it. Now, don't get some contraption you can't get out of, or you have to rip off.
Right.
Get something that's simple, but comfortable.
That sounds fun.
That's a contraption.
Right. Do you then? Because all these leather fishnets. Some people got bells and whistles,
Oh
and
man.
all kind of chokers and things, and I'm like, no,
Hey.
give me a teddy and I'm good. Like, it looks like a bathing suit, so it's so easy to put on, take off, whatever. But I just think it depends on the person. But more so when you try to demand, oh, I'm a man, I have to have someone wear lingerie. I think it takes away the passion and the intimacy from those moments. Because sometimes you could be in shorts and a t-shirt,
Right.
and be hair up in a bun. You have your socks on and your little mug, and you're sipping. And it's like,
The hair in the bun, bro.
Looking right. See, the bun got no lingerie though, but so I think it's just the atmosphere that you're in and the person you're with. Like that stuff can be uncomfortable. Men don't gotta wear it; they just wear their, briefs or boxers or whatever, and they're good. That comes off, and you're good. Time to go. But I'm trying to get out of this, like unhook this, and we in the moment. It's all too much. Like,
Right.
give me a nightgown off, and we good.
Or no, simply
You gotta set the scene though sometimes.
No, I get that too. I'm not saying sometimes if you're like really wanting to, your man had a long day, he's stressed, babe, man, today was, and you just plan something nice for him. So all the visual comes with that. All of that is great. But like every night, who's doing that?
Do you wear lingerie for your man, or do you wear lingerie for yourself? Because I wear lingerie for myself. I like lingerie. I like the way it makes me feel, which makes him feel, which makes me feel. Back, you know what I'm saying?
Then everybody feeling on everybody.
And not everybody feeling how we need to feel.
It goes both ways, like you said. I can wear lingerie for me, so I feel confident in my own skin. But then, like you said, then he's gonna have something visual to turn him on, and then I'm turned on because he's turned on, and it's like, okay, the exchange,
right.
Yeah.
You over there.
He's been all tonight.
Yeah.
Got his notepad.
So, definitely, I'm taking all kind of mental notes. The lexicon is full. So I like variety. And so for me, of course, the sexiest thing is the naked body, right? You know what I'm saying? Without question, sometimes, you just step out the shower or, whatever, and you get into it. To Jolon's point, I do get some of those things are a little bit like, I guess difficult to kind of go around depending on what you get. Sometimes you want to get like, something crotchless. I always want to get something crotchless, what I'm saying? That way it's just like boom, boom, boom. You ain't got to do a whole lot of everything else, right? To Jessica's point, I think that, it is sexy when a woman feels sexy and she's confident. It's sex. That's sexy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, she's feeling herself. I'm feeling her, I mean, even with me, like sometimes, I look in the mirror after I done worked out and, everything looking good. I'm like, all right, I'm not looking at me. For me, I'm like, oh, they gonna be loving this. I'm thinking about the woman looking at me. You know what I'm saying? I think, I'm thinking about the woman's gaze on me, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking good. So then she gonna look, so I think it's that, like I said, that vicarious, desire. You know what I'm saying? You just, you want everybody's desiring one another and everything like that. But also, sometimes some of that stuff is really sexy though. You know what I mean? Like depending on like body shape and like just what you get. Sometimes it's just like a little short t-shirt and some ankle socks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like it's just, it could be some of anything. Like I said, a teddy or maybe it's a two-piece. I don't know. For me, it's just something like that Jessica said, like it's setting the stage. You know what I mean? Like you could be sexy and just like I said, a t-shirt, some ankle socks, and a lollipop or something. You know what I mean? Like it could be anything, or you could do a whole setup where you got a whole little I don't know, dominatrix type deal going on. You walk in the room and you got the floggers and all that ready. You know what I mean? It could be from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? It could just be your bare body on the bed ready. You know what I mean? It could be some of anything. So I think the biggest thing is just variety and the intentionality. And this, I think, is the biggest thing. The intention of, I want to seduce. You know what I'm saying? I want to be seductive. You know what I'm saying? A man wants to be seduced. You know what I'm saying? So if you approach it with the attitude of, I'm going to seduce, your man, he's going to feel that. He's going to feel that desire, that wanting. And I mean, it could be some anything you got on. It's just that energy behind it. So
Like the
and,
lust.
yeah, like it's just a yearning. You know what I'm saying? Like a
desire
desire,
to
yearning.
the wanting, like the
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That
There's nothing sexier than being wanted by somebody.
nothing.
Right.
And so when
Nothing,
you
yeah.
give them those vibes to your partner, I believe they will give it back to you. And so that's where it comes in, like where you are desiring and wanting them, then to me that is the best feeling when it comes to, lingerie and all of that stuff. Like, you don't even need that when you have that desire with that person, when you just want them. That's great. You can play with it. You can have a lot of fun with those things. But when you're connecting with somebody and you're on that same level with each other,
possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Endless, baby. Endless.
Eternal.
I remember back in the day, everyone used to make this big deal about size when it comes to men. And for me, my answer on that one is this emotion in the ocean. I mean, I think if you know what you're working with, then you can go the full way with it. I don't think it's all about, oh, he's got to be 9 inches. He might not know what to do with that. I've also discovered different variations of, sometimes it's straight, sometimes it's got that
the little curve.
yeah, that gets in their G spot.
Mhm.
So
How it goes?
I mean, if that's that small, but it can hook and get that orgasm, then it works. I don't think it's about size. And I think, a lot of women, even in like all of the magazines, Cosmopolitan and Vogue, they write and they talk about, oh gosh, he was strikingly handsome with this big cock. And, and it's like, it's not for me.
Girl, you got that from Vogue, because we don't talk like that. We don't say
Yeah,
that.
I was like, I don't know.
You know you got that from Cosmopolitan. We don't say that.
I don't think it's about size. What about you ladies?
Well, the average vagina is about 5 inches. So anything more than that,
It's hurtful.
you gonna be in the doctor's office.
Push a thing
But
back.
the only thing is with that,
Stretch your stuff
but
out.
it expand when you're aroused.
yes,
So
the
Yeah,
vagina does
stretch it out.
expand when you're aroused, but it can only expand so much. So when you talk about 9, 10 inches, it didn't go that far. Okay,
Right.
so let's stop there.
I mean,
Now every woman is different, so some people may be 4, some people may be 6, maybe a little bit larger. So you have to find that person that fits you and works that way. And like you said, men curve in different ways, and so if you're off to the left, you want somebody that may be turned to the left. You're off to the right, maybe we want some turn to the right.
together.
Turn to the left. Turn to the right. Crisscross. Criss.
I would love to see him crisscross. Okay, that would be very interesting. Very interesting.
I mean, for me, I feel like a lot of notes have been passed, or like secrets have been told, to where, oh girl, he's this size and things that are. But like Jessica said, it depends on the person. I feel like, yes, it may have something to do with size, but it's how you use it. And a lot of sex therapists will say that. I've watched, a couple videos and read things, and they'll say it's not about the size, it's how you use it. Because a lot of men may feel like, well, man, I'm not as big as this guy or whatever. But if you're passionate and you're connecting with your partner, I feel like that's what matters, not the size. Because you could be as big and as long as no dick, literally, and not be connecting, and it won't go well.
Or even if you do have a bigger size penis, doesn't mean that you're using it well.
Correct. Exactly.
I mean, just because you in and out
Exactly.
does not necessarily mean that it feels great for me.
Because you're in and out, and I'm to the left.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like just because you
Directing
may be on the bigger side, it does not necessarily mean that you can just be like, yeah, I got it. You don't.
You never did.
You missed it back there. You missed that exit back there.
And as I go over to you about this subject, when it comes to a woman, like I know you talked about just your preferences with like the booty earlier, but in terms of her being tall, short, or voluptuous or thin, lean, not too overweight, like what are your preferences?
One of my things is about being a protector, and I want my woman to feel comfortable. So, I prefer a woman shorter than me for that reason, because I think it's like a subconscious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I wouldn't be with a woman that's my height or taller, you know what I mean? But I just think that there's something there subconscious there that is kind of going to probably always be kind of a lingering thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Whether on my part or her part or both, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like, I definitely don't like an overweight woman, and I don't like a thin woman either. Like I'm like I like from anywhere between, a petite, thick woman to a thick woman, but not obese and not skinny. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like the physical characteristics in this order, it's for me, it's the yoni first. That's the most amazing invention of creation, right? Then it's booty, then it's lips, thighs, eyes, then skin, hands, feet, in that order.
No breasts, nothing, no.
I'm not. I like breasts, you know what I'm saying, but I'm okay with a woman not being. I feel like this. If she has a good, nice breast, it's a great plus. It's like a great eye. It's like, cream cheese icing on the cake. You know what I mean? But it's not necessarily like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you can do some things with those, but it's not necessarily a great necessity for me. But I do like, especially as I get older, I'm becoming a little bit more of a breast man now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, traditionally those are the things for me.
In our final 10 minutes of each episode, our 3-part series that is of the Purple Mic, we'll play a game of Would You Rather, just to kind of gain some feedback from our panelists. So,
surprise!
Would you rather make the first move or receive the first move? How important is initiation, and does it matter who makes the first move?
And what define first move?
Initiation.
Good question.
Sexual. So you're coming home from work.
Okay.
You've been bathed. You're in bed. You guys have been eating dinner. He's watching his show. You might be cleaning up, and the house is quiet. You guys are ready to go to bed. Who initiates?
She's setting the stage, but
yeah. Does it matter? Do you like to receive, or do you like to be the one who gives?
When I give it, I will receive it. Yep.
That is the truth.
It is.
When I give it, I will receive it.
I love that. Ben?
I'm okay with that.
Yo, I am, and I know you don't like these answers, but I'm really on the fence with this one. Like, I'm like 50-50, really, honestly, because, I put like this. Out of 3 times, I'll be okay with me. I'd be a 2-to-1 with this me, whether it's me doing 2 and her doing 1, or her doing 2 and I do 1. Like, I just really, I don't know. I'm really right there. Like, I enjoy both. But it's something about a woman when she initiates, when she really wants you. Like, I feel like this. Some of my best performances is when I've been, attacked, and it's like, oh, you want it like that,
right?
Then I go, then I get into.
You go in.
Like I said, that, yeah,
literally,
yeah, all the way. Like,
I'm playing mind games because I know that to be true. I don't know what it is, but when a woman initiates it, and she's whatever, they come with the fire.
Pun intended. Sorry, go ahead. Just you come with it, Go ahead.
Anyway,
but I think a lot of men want to be attacked because they always
of course they do. They want to be wanted too. Men are not they're not drones. They're not robots. They have feelings and emotions, and they want it too. They want to be wanted too.
Right. They want to
And
be desired.
I just try to, honestly, I
Yeah.
try to treat my man like I would want to be treated.
Yeah.
I would want to be jumped, so I'm gonna jump you.
Right.
I want someone to
Hey,
cook for
okay.
me, so I cook
Okay,
for
now.
you. I want someone to clean the house, so I will clean the house for you. I'll take you out to dinner. I'll treat you good, and we do it back and forth. And to me, you know, that's how I like to handle myself in
Reciprocity.
relationships. And
Absolutely.
you know, it just makes it so much more enjoyable because you guys are never having to wonder, you know, do you want this? Do they want that? And I just feel like we're on a good page, and it makes it that much better. So I'm with Ben. I'm 50-50 on that because, you know, I want to get jumped, and I like to do the jumping too.
And the other thing is like typically you pretty much know like 19 out of 20, I'll say 99 out of 100 times a woman come on to a man and you know it's time he's gonna be ready for it. I don't give a damn what he even been through that day. He might be a little tired sometimes. Even if he's a little tired, he gonna come through. But for women, it's not that easy. Like, you know, it might be, I don't know, 5 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't, we don't be knowing sometimes. It's like, you know, should I, shouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? Then it's like you trying, and then man, that's one of the worst things. Like feeling rejected when you try and you feel rejected. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the worst feelings. You know what I mean? So especially when
We
you've been
like,
in a
not
relationship.
tonight, you know.
Yeah, we've been in a
Rest
relationship.
tonight. You
Yeah.
better roll up.
Why do women do that?
I
Not tonight.
I think I think a lot of women use sex as a control mechanism. A lot of times when they are not getting what they think they deserve in a relationship, like I'm locking it down. If it's to make a point, and I feel like that's like the worst thing you can ever do. It
Sex is a weapon.
severs the intimacy over time. It's now a play on power and a power struggle, and then
It's manipulation.
And then the attraction starts to fizzle. I feel like you can communicate and talk about the issues versus your godly duty to your husband, which is your body. Now you're one. You're not supposed to withhold sex. That was never ordained by God to withhold sex. You know,
Now I can see not being in the mood because maybe you had a really bad day at work, you lost a friend or something like
about
that. That's much different than not being in the mood because you're in a different headspace. Like you just
Right.
need time. But I'm just saying, like, if you guys are good together and you guys are feeling each other, and you know, me personally, I rarely turn down sex. I'm gonna be, because again, we're in that space. You know, that's the kind of relationships I like to be in. I'm very picky about my relationships because I have to feel that before we get there. So I already know what it's going to be. But yeah, I rarely turn down sex because I'm feeling you. Like we are already at that point. So yeah, I don't know. I've always had that question about why women, you know, may turn down sex. I mean, I can understand being tired and, you know, just don't want to do it, but you know.
I think I did it a couple of times in my marriage where it was just like,
Yeah, I mean, if they're annoying you, then obviously you're not in the mood. But it's not like you don't desire them. I don't want them to ever feel like I don't desire them.
Right.
See, that's
I'm
the
just
thing.
not in
That's
the
the thing.
mood.
though.
And I think those are two different things. Like,
Right. That's the difference. Yeah.
yeah.
And see
Okay.
that, and I think sometimes some women might get to that point where maybe they don't desire they do no more, and that's the issue. That's a big
It
problem.
is a huge
if it gets,
issue.
if it gets to that point, then it's like, all right.
underlying thing that's going on that hasn't been discussed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there's
That's
something
why
else
it's like
going on.
communication, because if you're just gonna physically withhold yourself, then all of that stuff just goes downhill from there. So it's like, talk about the issues. Why is it that you don't desire me? Is it something I'm doing? Is it something I said? Like, what is the root of the matter?
Yes. And finally, the engagement of foreplay. Would you rather engage in foreplay or go right into the main course? How important is foreplay?
That's 50-50 too, because it depends on the situation.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
I'm ready right
Sometimes
now.
you don't have time.
Out the window. Sometimes
So let me ask you. So how we define it for, like, you know, there's certain you know, what is is we talking about just kissing? Is like conolingus and fellatio? Is that foreplay, or is that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
what
you
is?
know, women have to get revved up. You know, we don't.
Absolutely,
You
yeah,
guys,
without a doubt.
just kind of pop out and be like,
Right,
"Ah!"
without a doubt.
We need to be primed.
Right, absolutely. No, and I get that point.
Sometimes
I get that point, but
that's
no,
foreplay.
Well, speak
but
for
my question,
yourself. I'm not
but that's
like that.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's not all the time. There's you know, sometimes we are ready to go and, you know, let's get on this and let's do that. That's when
right.
foreplay is not needed. That's not when foreplay, you know, we like.
Right.
But sometimes
Okay,
you
I
may
get,
be coming
I
from a
get that.
cooler environment, and then you may have to get hotter.
Right.
So that's
Hotter.
where
Right. So
foreplay comes in.
that's my point. Like, so is again, some people define foreplay differently. Some people say that conolingus and fellatio isn't foreplay, that's sex. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it kind of depends for me. You know, I definitely have noticed that, you know, like to your point, sometimes a woman is already primed because maybe that during that day there was the emotional connection, y'all talked, and y'all, you know, you've been sending the text and everything, and so by the time y'all get home, you've been foreplaying with her all day. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, mentally or emotionally, and it's so
Right.
boom, when y'all see each other,
Right.
y'all ready. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like I said, you know, is it that, like, if I'm, you know, if I come home and you pull my pants down and go to work, you know what I'm saying? You got the hair in the bun already. Like, is that, is that sex? You know what I'm saying? Or is that foreplay? You know what I mean? So it just kind of depends. For me, I've noticed that when there's when there's that foreplay exchange, and because that's how I define. I still think that conolingus and fellatio are both still foreplay. I think that it's not sex till it's coitus. When the male organ meets the female organ, that's sex. Anything else is foreplay. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
And so so I've noticed that, when it's, like I said, when it's done, when there's a about a 10-15 minutes amount of foreplay, on generally speaking, you know what I'm saying, like, not all the time, like you said, sometimes it's just like you already ready, just wham bam, thank you ma'am, but by the 10-15 minutes with the kissing and other stuff, and then by the time that thing, it's oiled up very, very nicely, and you can go ahead and slide on in.
Hot and ready.
Hot and ready sign.
Little Caesars.
Little Caesars. Yeah, hot and ready sign. Yeah.
That's gonna be the code word for people, like when their husband comes
Exactly.
in. Little Caesars.
Yeah.
You
Code
like
word.
that.
Exactly. Little Caesars. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But like Ben said, foreplay could be sending a text message, a little dirty picture. You get home, a hug, a kiss, taking a bath together, a massage, cooking together. All those things can be foreplay. You feeding that person, sipping wine together. Like, all of that can be foreplay.
Right.
And it just depends on the mood. If you want to set a stage or you want to do simple things and get there. But is it necessary? No, not always. Like Jessica said, sometimes it's time to go.
Sometimes it's Little Caesars.
Little Caesars, hot and ready.
But what if you're not ready physically? Like, what if you're not wet and you're just like not ready?
Well, then
you may need foreplay.
Right.
That's when you have that conversation.
Foreplay. You may need some.
What
had a conversation.
Cunnilingus.
I come back.
No. You had that conversation.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Yes.
Cunnilingus. That conversation.
Cunnilingus.
Yes, exactly. Cunnilingus. You become a cunning linguist.
Because he's talking you up.
Exactly. You talking to that thing.
Conversation.
How you been doing today? You all right today? You been doing all right today?
Oh my.
Anything I can do for you?
Talking into the mic. Yes, he is. Talking into the mic.
Well, that's our time for tonight, guys. We for burner level 1 through 2. So join us next week as we explore burner level 3 through 5. We're going to turn it up a few notches next week in our second part to our series. And you certainly don't want to miss our finale, part 3 episode, as we turn the dial all the way up to level 10. Again, if you have not already, please subscribe.
All the way up.
Yes, we're turning it all the way up. Please subscribe to our YouTube if you have not. You'll definitely want to hit the notification bell, which alerts you every time we drop a new episode. We also have the fall cash giveaway. We are emphasizing this because it ends next week. So if you're looking for more information on that, please go over to Instagram.com/thepurplemic, and all of the information is in the description. The winner will be announced October 28th. On our 20th episode next week, which is actually a milestone. I'm your host, Erica, and thank you again for joining us tonight at Purple Mic. Jessica, we thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to have you a part of our family. Good night, guys.
Yay.
Bye.